And now, in studio, bringing his Midwest values from the Show Me State to the land of San Diego. He's a triple threat, licensed as an attorney, mortgage broker, and a top producing realtor who's crushing the competition. Here to deliver you what's happening in the trenches of the market. Your host, Michael Gaddis.
Welcome back to the Michael Gaddis Show on AM 1170 The Answer. I am your host, Michael Gaddis of michaelgaddis.com and frontierloangroup.com. And we're going to continue our discussion with Jim Wade and Dr. Roger Bolus of the Encinitas Rotary Club. They have a special program called Home Team where they help seniors. And before the break, Roger was telling us a little bit about one of the stories that he had with one of the people that they're assisting. And during the break, we were kind of talking a little bit more about the need that seniors have for a program like this, and the fact that a lot of people don't appreciate exactly the state that some of our seniors are in. And you know, one of the things I see as I go from house to house is, you know, this need for just regular, just little assistance here and there. It's not, sometimes it's not big. I mean, to be honest with you, a lot of the people that I meet are on such fixed incomes that they don't even have the ability a lot of times to go out to eat or to see a movie. That can literally break them for the month. So, I mean, so that means that they don't have a lot of extra money to help put around their house, to help keep it fixed up, to just do little things that they need to do. So, you know, it's one of the things that I think I'm very passionate about. I have a lot of, as all my listeners know, I have a lot of senior centers come on. And last week I had Serving Seniors on. I had the Poway Senior Center before that. I had the Lawrence Family Jewish Community Center on a couple times before that. So I have senior centers on quite a bit. But what you do is very interesting, and I think it's you know, something that people should know more about. Your website is encinitasrotary.com. And so, again, you have handyman services for seniors. And some of your typical services, I'm reading your brochure right now, replacing light bulbs in hard-to-reach areas, replacing batteries on smoke detectors. We know how annoying that can be, especially when it starts beeping, and if you can't do I have trouble. Leaking faucets, toilet tank malfunction, squeaky doors and windows, damaged or torn screens, blown fuses or GFI resets, loose handles or drawer pulls, water heater adjustments. These are all things that I'm sure people who are listening take for granted that they can do themselves. And when you become a senior, you know, tasks such as these become extremely monumental, wouldn't you say?
Oh yeah. I had one lady that called in for a request for help, so I called her, find out what the problem was, and she said, I need my light bulbs replaced. And I said, how many? She said, all of them. So I threw a box of light bulbs in my truck and went over there. And I checked, and sure enough, all the light bulbs in her house were out.
Oh.
And I said, well, how do you see at night? She said, I turn on the TV. I said, well, let me start replacing. She said, no, wait a minute, I only want you to replace 3. And I said, well, why 3? She said, well, you can do 3 a month, because that's all I can afford.
Oh.
And that's how I you know. And she was in tears, so I said, look, forget it. We're going to replace all of them. You don't owe us anything. This is what we do. And
wow.
She was in tears. She
Oh my
believe
gosh.
it.
She was walking around in the dark.
With her TV on. Yeah. That's how she got her light.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, see, originally our intent was to offer services and look to the seniors to pick up the material costs. And we learned pretty quickly that a lot of them didn't even have the funds to get the materials. So as we were talking during the break, we decided to hold our own fundraiser to raise enough funds that we would have a good budget for the materials themselves. So that was ended up being a really good idea, because over the last couple of years we've been able to fund all of our projects through just self-raised money. So.
And you know, just like you were saying, I mean, as with a lot of these senior centers and place, donations mean a lot, and what you do with the donations is probably exponentially more than what you're donating. At least the intangible value that you get from it. You know, the fact that you replace this woman's light bulbs. How much can the light bulbs cost out of those? I mean, what is it? You know, $5, $10, whatever it is.
We had the light bulbs donated.
Yeah, so you had light bulbs donated, which the market value is probably not that much, but to her, it was just like winning the lottery.
Right.
You know, and so how little things that we can do for people, how much they mean to them is really an important thing.
Yeah, you've hit on something, because our club has about 90 members. It's one of the larger Rotary clubs in San Diego County. And Jimmy, we must have 50-60% of the members as part of the team. And to the last member, we find that they get more out of the work than the recipient does. They come down, they're beaming for a week.
Instant gratification, because these people think you're Santa Claus.
Well, you know, and I, you know what, it is true, because like when I visit my clients, you know, when I started doing reverse mortgages, to be honest with you, I had no idea the condition of the people that I was going to encounter on a weekly basis. Now when I go to houses, I'm not really surprised anymore, but I mean, sometimes I still am, but when I see people in the condition that they are, you would think, well, if they can afford a reverse mortgage, they must have money. Keep in mind, seniors are on fixed income, so they might be living in a house with a lot of equity, but they don't have that much money. I mean, they literally are house rich and cash poor. And so when I go to these houses and I see it, it just, you know, when I first started seeing it, I would go home and tell my wife, I'm like, you can't believe this. I mean, I would meet people who their house is literally falling down around them, and they're hoarders, you know, all kinds of just, you know, idiosyncratic things that I would see. And, you know, but now I kind of have a sense of purpose in what I do, because like whenever I leave my client, you know, and I never truly leave any of my clients, because just like with Kathleen, I keep a relationship with them. And, you know, I always kind of feel like it's my duty, my God sent boot, to kind of watch out after them a little bit. And, you know, I mean, but to the fact that when I leave them, I'm, God willing, they're in much better shape than when I left them, whether they get a reverse or not. You know, the fact is, you know, when you go and you see what these seniors, the way they're living, and I mean, for example, I have a seniors right now. They're living they have a 2-bedroom house in San Bernardino, and they have so much stuff in their house, and their house is in such disrepair. They can't even sleep in their bedroom. They sleep on mats in the living room because there's just so much stuff around. The kitchen is falling apart. There's holes in the ceiling. All of this stuff. I mean, but they have a lot of equity in the house, but they just don't have the cash. And so it's really sad that they feel that they live that way. So, but you know, I think it's great that you guys are doing this. So again, this is Jim Wade and Dr. Roger Bolus of the Encinitas Rotary, and they have a program called Home Team, in which they go around and help seniors in the community do handyman services. So, and that can range from a lot of different things, from replacing light bulbs and repairing leaking faucets to water heater adjustments. How did you guys get this idea again? How did you guys decide to do this?
It was 5 years ago. I had a.
You just visited your mother.
Yeah,
in Boston.
I had just gone back to the East Coast to visit my mom, and she had a need for something or other, and it took her quite a long time to find somebody, and I was around, and I was listening to the prices that she was getting quoted by handymen, and my mom's on fixed income, and she couldn't afford to do it, and it just kind of stuck with me. And when I came back to California, we just started talking about a need for seniors in our community. And Encinitas is kind of a wealthier community, and the thought was, well, maybe there wasn't going to be a need in Encinitas, and the scope of who we serve is Encinitas, and we found out pretty quickly that there was a pretty big contingent of seniors in the community that were on fixed incomes. There's several trailer parks that they live in, and that pretty much validated the need that first year. And because again, we were getting a lot in return from having done the service, that it's just kept the momentum going now for what, 5 years?
Yeah, most seniors like to live in their home for as long as they can. And you get to the point where a fixed income, and you know, a handyman, even if change the light bulb, is going to charge me $100. It's a flat. They owe him $100 when he walks in the door, and that's why they'll live in a place with no lights, because they just don't have the $100.
Yeah, they're scared to call a handyman.
Right.
They're like, oh my God, I don't have $100 to give them.
Right.
I mean, it's a frightening thing, you know, especially with just general maintenance needs. As we were talking about in the first segment, I mean, just think about major, what's happening with like paint jobs and roof jobs, things like that, where people are really trying to take advantage of them. Then you got handymen. It's not really necessarily taking advantage of it. It's just the fact that their time requires money. And, a handyman to come over there, he has to spend, half an hour, whatever it is, driving to and from. It costs money to do that. So, it's nice that you guys have created something to help people who are in need. Now, let me ask you, how do people find out about you guys? So, how do seniors that live in Encinitas, how do they find out about what you guys do?
A lot of them, their first call is to the Senior Citizen Center to say, who can I get to help me do this? And they turn them on to us. And then some seniors will tell other seniors about us. They'll be at a knitting party or something and say, they replaced all my light bulbs. Oh, somebody can, how much they charge? Nothing. They do it for nothing. They do it for free. And it's just kind of a word of mouth that's grown, plus the Senior Citizen Centers help promote it a lot too, because they understand the need too.
Well, you're listening to the Michael Gaddis Show on AM 1170. The Answer. I am your host, Michael Gaddis, at michaelgaddis.com and frontierloangroup.com. And we're continuing our discussion with Jim Wade and Dr. Roger Bullis of the Encinitas Rotary. They've established a charitable organization called Home Team, where they donate their time and energy to helping seniors with handyman services, typical handyman services. So it's one. So you have a referral source from the senior center, and then you have word of mouth going for you. But what about people who would like to donate? I mean, I'm sure you guys would be willing to take some donations if somebody is willing to donate. Correct?
Sure. One of the seniors have us in their will.
I'm sure they do after all the help.
They do.
A lot of them want to actually, when we finish up, will want to write us a small check, and we kind of discourage that sort of thing. But their response is, there's no way I could have handled this other than what you're doing. So we've gotten knitted sweaters. Remember the one woman who gave us
hats?
Hats.
She had a box of about 1,000 hats, and she wouldn't let us leave unless we took one of her hats.
wear it to bed at night to keep the ears warm.
Well, that's how they show their appreciation
Exactly.
for what you do. And I think it's something that maybe some other, senior centers and things throughout San Diego County could take a lesson from this and try to find, maybe some local people to help their community as well.
Well, it's interesting that you say that, because we've wanted to get the program established, and we're kind of at that point where we think it's pretty good. Our next thought was to bring it to other Rotary clubs, because I believe there's about 65 Rotary clubs in Greater San Diego. And
we get a lot of calls from out of the area that want us to help. I just say, no, we can't do it. Was there anybody in Oceanside that does this? No, I don't know. I don't think so.
So it'd be interesting to pitch this idea to other Rotary clubs or to other senior centers to see if there's anybody they can get some people. Mainly Rotary. I think Rotary clubs would probably be the best way to do it.
It is good. It's service is their orientation, obviously. Right. And what we found that's necessary to do this is obviously the will, and Jim's been awesome at coordinating this for the last 4 or 5 years. It takes a little energy, a little bit of time, but
and the know-how to change light bulbs and things like that.
I've learned a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, we used to screw them the other way. When we first
I know.
started.
Now it's so much easier.
It's amazing how they all get screwed in the same direction now.
How many seniors do you guys think you help?
Oh gosh,
At least 200 in the last 5 years.
Really?
easily, yeah,
Really?
easily. We get a lot of repeat calls, and in our there's, like I said, there were several trailer parks and senior communities situated in Encinitas, so we leave our materials at their clubhouses.
And there's some things that we can't do, but we can still take care of it. Recently, we had a lady who she had a problem in her kitchen. She had to change flooring. She needed a linoleum floor put out. And there was nobody on our volunteer list that knew how to do it.
That's a little more advanced, yeah.
Right, so we paid a guy $300 to go put it in, and she thinks we hung them out.
Well, it's almost like you could take it a little bit step further and kind of almost help them when they have to negotiate bigger type items that they don't understand. So, for example, widows or widowers or whatever it might be, that need to put a roof on their house or need to get their house painted, that don't understand what they should be paying, or how, or is the HERO program a good program? Like, for example, I get this all the time. You know, the guy will knock on the door, the solar guy. Do I need solar? How much should solar really cost me? They keep pitching me about solar lease or solar purchase. Should I do the HERO program? They don't know. They all end up on the solar lease program, which I'm not a big fan of. So, I mean, it's one of those things where you can almost have a guidance, little committee, which it just has, people who have knowledge to be able to help them answer those questions, and maybe you guys have something like that?
We've had some calls like that asking legal questions.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, I contacted one of my Rotary guys, one of the guys that's in the Rotary. He's not on the team, but he's an attorney.
Mm-hmm.
So I asked him, look, call this lady and answer her questions.
Mm-hmm.
And he did it, no problem. But there are few and far between that really want our advice on how to handle something else. Usually it's my screen's torn, how long will it take you guys to fix it?
Yeah, the other thing that we do kind of in that situation is we're fortunate in Encinitas that the senior services, I was serving on our senior commission for a few years and got to learn the expansive services that are offered through the senior center. So the one thing we always will do is we'll refer a question back to the center. We also we started, or at least our Rotary Club did, kind of as an outgrowth of this, a program in collaboration with the city for Senior Citizen of the Year award, and also an award for individuals who help seniors.
All right.
So that's now in I believe it's third year.
I don't live in Encinitas, so I'm not qualified to get it.
I tell you what, I have another idea, and I told this to a senior center. One thing about around Thanksgiving, okay, I had 5 senior clients around Thanksgiving that had nowhere to go. They didn't have any relatives around, or if they had relatives, they were on the other side of the country, they were alone. And I said, wouldn't it be nice if we had some sort of a way to do an adopt a senior on like holidays, things like that, where you could invite a senior over to your house and have them have a Thanksgiving dinner with you, or have them share some time with you, just so they're not alone on the holidays, or at least they know that someone cares around those times when everybody else has so much family around them. I just think that would be a spectacular thing, because I made sure that that with my clients that I called them on Thanksgiving, and so but I mean one of them lived in Long Beach, another lived in Inglewood. They were all really far, so it's not like I could. If they were local, I probably would have brought them over to my house, but they were just so far away. But it made me sad that was the case. But if you guys don't mind, I'd like you to come back for another segment. I want to talk a little bit more about the Rotary Club itself. And we'll talk a little bit about what is a Rotary Club and how they help the community besides just senior activities. You're listening to the Michael Gaddis Show on AM 1170, The Answer.